All right, Brad Sturdy covers the Illini for orangeandbluenews.com. That's the Illinois site. On the Rivals site, Brad, on the Rivals Network, Brad, the 2020th thing lately is that the 1 year Missouri and Illinois are both good. We get this game on campus with family members in attendance rather than in St. Louis at what would probably finally be the atmosphere we've been missing the last few years.
Yeah, boy, it would have been great. I mean, you'd have I think it would have sold out. You'd have had a 50-50. Yeah, I mean, I think both fan bases are pretty excited about their teams. So it would have been great to be in St. Louis, but instead I'm going to drive 3.5 hours to Columbia and sit in a pretty quiet arena. So it'll be different, but it'll be fun. So I guess it is 2020 though, so we still don't even know necessarily. It could change TV stations as we're going here in the next couple of days. So it's a crazy time.
Right. It's only Thursday, so we can't even promise the game is being played because that's how college basketball happens this year. But,
it's true.
Both these teams off to good starts. Missouri's probably more surprising than Illinois. I think once Io and Kofi Coburn both said they were coming back, this was kind of the team Brad Underwood's been, I guess, building towards since he got to Champaign, isn't it?
Yeah, no question. I think this is what he was hoping for, to have these guys. They're older. They're relying on some freshmen, but the old guys, they got a couple seniors who played great roles in Trent Frazier and Devontae Williams, and they've got star power from Io DeSumo and Kofi Coburn. And Io, I think, is up for Player of the Year in the country. I mean, he's been fantastic. Rebounding, getting people involved with assists, defending. You'll notice he's guarding the best players, other team's best player a lot, and then obviously scoring over 20 points a game. So he's been fantastic, and I think Underwood's excited about this squad and thinks they have a chance to make a run in the postseason, depending on what that's going to look like. So
yeah, you mentioned Trent Frazier. When he takes advantage of the extra year of eligibility and comes back next year, will that be his 8th or 9th year playing for him? Because that dude he's one of those guys that it seems like he's been in this game for a decade.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, how long some of these guys, especially with this new rules, and with guys are going to be in college could be in college for, I think, 6 years. Like the Bohannon kid at Iowa was another kid. I mean, he played 10 games last year, and now he's in his 5th year, and he could get a 6th year. So you just there are all these kids that they seem like they've been there forever. This is a great game, and I know Trent really appreciates it. He's been on both sides, winning and losing, and I think he really enjoys the game and the rivalry.
A lot of the names you mentioned, Missouri fans are going to know. They might recognize Adam Miller's name because Missouri did offer him and was hoping to be a little more involved in that recruitment than I think they were. But freshman guard averaging 13 a game. How good has he been so far?
He's been great. The funny thing about him, he's actually had a couple games where he didn't shoot the ball well, but yet he did all the other things. He still defended. He's handled the ball, didn't turn it over. He's been really good. I mean, he's such a, the other day against Duke, as they're trying to take away the other guys, he hit 3 early threes and 3 for 3 from 3 and really opened the game up because they realized we can't leave him, So, yeah, he's been really good. I mean, freshmen are going to have their ups and downs, as we know. We've seen that in this game many years. Some guys have their best game of their career and some guys have their worst. So, but Adam is a kid who really, he likes the big moments. He likes playing those games, and he's been really added that extra a piece of outside shooting that Illinois lacked last year. And then, of course, you throw in the fact he's also a very, very good defender too for a freshman.
Yeah, it's Illinois basically goes with the 7-man rotation. All 7 of them are averaging like 7.5 points or more. Is it style-wise, is this similar to the way Underwood's last couple teams that we've seen him play? Just kind of the pressure.
They're different. I mean, they still play defense. Yeah, they don't play as much pressure as they have in the past. They play more pack line type. They will get up in pressure at times, but it's less of that overplay that you'll see. You'll see them overplay in certain situations. They've kind of varied the way they defend ball screens this year too. They've gone more of the last game against Duke. They switched a lot of ball screens. And of course, it depends on personnel the other team has, but they switched a lot of ball screens. And then they're against Baylor, they kind of struggle with the ball screens in Ohio, and they didn't switch them, and they did it differently. And so now they've kind of adjusted, and they're just they're still growing and learning too. But it's definitely a different system than you saw a couple years ago when everything was overplay, trying to get a steal and a turnover.
What is the feeling from the Illinois side? I know at one time Mark Smith and Jeremiah Tillman, and maybe to a lesser degree, Javon Pickett were public enemies 1, 2, and 3. Is that still there, or do you think that has maybe worn off a little bit?
I think for some people it's still there, but I think it's worn off a little bit as Illinois had success. I think when you're struggling, you look for those enemies. You know what I mean? I think when Illinois is good, and so now they're just like, yeah, whatever. Obviously, those guys are. Jeremiah Tillman is a really good player, and Mark Smith's a good player, and Pickett's had a great game against Illinois. He's really done well. So those are kids that, I think that they're in a good situation for themselves. So you got to look at those kids, and they're in a good place for them. They're getting to play, they're getting to be on a good team, and they're getting a lot of minutes. And so I think it's good for them. I think Illinois fans are going to fan, that's what they do. And so, but I think the Illinois players, it's more, they want to win the game it's less personal for them. I think it's more about winning the game at this point.
I was talking to somebody at the Mizzou basketball game last night, and I'd just be interested in your take on this as somebody who knows way more about Illinois than I do. I said, I'm not sure how much he would be playing on this team, but Mark Smith has finally become the player that I think everybody thought he was maybe coming out of Edwardsville. And this Illinois team with that piece added, I mean, I think they might be one of the best teams in the country anyway, but I think they might be number one in the country, but I'm not sure, how many minutes Mark Smith is getting in that rotation. Just kind of, it's probably not something you guys have wasted any time thinking about, but what's your take on it?
Yeah, it's interesting take because Mark Smith's such a good perimeter shooter. He can bring that outside presence. So I think he could be a really nice piece for the squad. Illinois has a kid actually who's sitting out, who's injured. A kid named Austin Hutcherson, a transfer, who he's been injured. He sat out last year, and now he's injured with a bad back. And he is a tremendous shooter. Who that would be kind of the role that they would want him to come off the bench. I think Mark Smith could be that guy and be a really, and Illinois really thinks that could add some value down the road if he can get healthy in January and maybe start playing a little bit. So yeah, I think Mark Smith is obviously he's a talented kid, and I think last year he struggled a little bit last year in this game because I think a lot of it was mental. You know what I mean? I think they get in that situation where they start thinking about everything except the basketball game, and that's when they struggle. So this year, I think they all should be calmed down and ready to play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, so many times in the past few years we've gone into this and neither team's been great, honestly, lately. So I think each team has kind of approached it as, hey, this is a chance to get like a signature win on the schedule almost. And I guess it kind of is that for Missouri, but they've already got a win over a ranked team. Illinois just went to Duke and won in Cameron Indoor. So it almost is a little more of a game where, yeah, there's a lot at stake, but really for both these teams, it's less must win maybe than it has been the last few years.
Yeah, I don't think either team right now is looking for that maybe a signature non-conference win to get them on the NCAA tournament radar or anything like that. In the past, it's been like, if we lose this game, we might be on the outside looking in come Selection Sunday. And now I think it's a different mindset. It's like both teams are trying to compete in the, Illinois is trying to win the Big Ten. I think Missouri feels like they can compete in the SEC. So both those teams feel like they have an opportunity to make a run in the conference. So this is while it's a really important game in the sense that it's a fun game, it's a good game against really quality competition. And two, in my opinion, I think Brad Underwood's a great coach. I think Cuonzo Martin is one of the best defensive coaches that you're going to find. His teams always guard. And so I think you've got a really good matchup, contrasting styles a little bit. And so I think that's why it's fun. And maybe hopefully both teams can continue having success after this in their conference season, which I expect them to.
Yeah, nobody watching from either side actually hopes for that. You and I hope for that, but nobody actually watching this wants that. But
probably true.
This game obviously taken on a little bit different field this year, but I've said it's one that it actually helps both teams simply by playing. Even if you lose this game, your resume looks better after this game, I think, than it did before. Illinois 4-1, other than facing a team that has as much talent as anybody in the country in number 2 Baylor. I mean, is there anywhere that Illinois has some vulnerabilities or some question marks right now?
It's interesting. Coming into the season, everybody said it was their perimeter shooting, outside shooting, but they have shot the ball extremely well from the perimeter. They're shooting over 40% from three as a team. Coming in, they shot 29% a year ago. So that's been a huge, I think a lot of people thought that would be it. For me, their biggest issue, and they kind of remedied that against Duke. They made some adjustments. It was defending, a little bit of defending ball screens, and guys a lot of teams have put Kofi Coburn in that defending a ball screen, try and get him in space. And he did a really nice job in against Duke of defending in that situation. They've also got, the question was, Georgie Bashansvili did not have a great year last year, but he's been really fantastic this year. He's probably been, some would argue that when he's been on the court, the team has played better than when Kofi's in the game. So this has been they've had some good things pop up. The one thing you wonder, a team that shot 29% from three can continue to shoot like 44% from three going forward. But right now, I think defensively is probably the little question mark about Illinois. Can they defend in space and with the size that they have? And the other problem is, can they match up with like the Ohio had a 6'8" kid who could step out and shoot three, and then also was a good post player. And DeMonte Williams gives up a little size as when he's playing the power forward. He's only 6'3", 6'4". So that's kind of an issue. Sometimes can be an issue against certain teams. But those are probably the biggest things that you worry about.
Well, credit to you for saying Georgie's last name, because I've covered games that he's played in for 3 years, and I've never even so much as typed his last name. So, very, very impressive effort on your part. Looking forward to Saturday night, and look, I hope for your sake and for really the sake of the country that Big Ten basketball season goes off a little more smoothly than Big Ten football season, because with Illinois and Iowa, there's some fun things to watch in that league this year. So yeah,
it's, because then they wouldn't be in this mindset where now it looks like they're just trying to pump Ohio State up so they can get the Big Ten money, which I think they are. But at the same time, I think it really looks bad. And they could have started. Yeah, they could have started a month sooner, and then they'd have some built-in time here to get these games made up. But we can't go back, I guess, and change that. But hope basketball's got a schedule now, so and we expect there to be some cancellations as we go forward. I think maybe in every conference there's going to be some games that get postponed or whatever. But you hope you can get enough. With 20 conference games scheduled, hopefully you can get 15, 16 for everybody at least, and then kind of go from there. I know. Illinois is excited to get those games in. Underwood, actually, they had a game, Tennessee Martin, they lost, and he's actually talked about adding another Big Ten game, possibly against like a Michigan State, for example, because they only play with them once, or Iowa. Really good matchup, and it would be another Big Ten team that has the same testing protocol. So that would be that would be interesting to see a 21-game Big Ten schedule out of 27.
Definitely. All right. Well, Brad, appreciate the time, man. Thanks. Have a good trip to Columbia, and enjoy the night with 27 of your closest family and friends at Mizzou Arena.
The Raucous Arena. So it'll be great. So I appreciate it. Hope you see you there, Gabe.
All right. Have a good one, Brad.